Today in our program, the first chains of Kazakhstani restaurants, the first franchise in the history of local restaurant business, or how a programmer became a successful businessman in this welcoming and hospitable sphere. The multinational Kazakhstan is one of the richest countries in the world with drinking traditions. The Kazakh dasturkhan accepted cuisines of hundreds of different nations from all over the world. All of it is reflected in the restaurant business of the country with Kazakh, Russian, Ukrainian, European, Japanese, and even Brazilian African restaurants. But among lots of restaurants, there are some of them which were the first ones, private restaurants of the independent Kazakhstan, but with its special traditions kept for many years. The hero of our program is the creator and ideal motivator of chains of restaurants which were the pioneers of restaurant business in many fields. They were the first which entered novelty into the service, cuisine, serving meals, and creating unforgettable atmosphere which still differs the restaurants of Vladimir Gorokhov from others.
Сейчас у нас в Казахстане работает 6 ресторанов.
Now in Kazakhstan, our 6 restaurants are operating, 2 of them in Almaty, 1 in Astana, 1 in Karaganda, 1 in Taraz, and 1 in Shymkent. One of the main activities is maintaining the operation of restaurants and their promotion. Perhaps if we are able to find partners in other regions, we will be developing our chain, but for now we have only 6.
Будем развивать дальше нашу сеть. Но пока вот их 6.
The first profession of Vladimir was connected with the revolutionary field of that time. It was programming. The former, in those years, had only a limited circle of selected experts. The scope of the application of his skills was classified as confidential.
Я по образованию математик. Я заканчивал Томский университет, мехмат. После окончания университета я работал.
According to the diploma, I am a mathematician. I graduated from the Tomsk University in mathematics. After graduation, I worked as a programmer. I worked as a programmer at that time the military-industrial complex, and we solved a very serious problem, which was to protect our great nation from all enemies outside. Nearly for 7 years, I worked on a large project. We worked on a large government program. It was during the Soviet Union, and when the Soviet Union collapsed, it was clear that all our work which we did for 7 years just went to waste because we had no sense to continue. And here, yes, here, I wanted to leave everything, and I actually left everything. At that time, the work of programmers was not claimed. In principle, it was not in demand, because people actually did not have much.
Людям только до еды, до одежды, ну и, собственно, больше ни до чего.
Like many in those years, Vladimir Gorokhov was left with nothing. But unlike most, he did not despair and plunged into the wild, just starting business in the early 90s. And of course, he found the use of his energy and enterprise.
Сразу после того, как я ушел, что называется, в свободное плавание, я достаточно долго...
After that, I went to free activities. I imported beer for a long time. I had a serious company. We imported beer from Germany. We were the first ones who seriously distributed at that time. We had a really strong and serious marketing strategy. We had a dispatch service. Everything was as it should be in business, and I really did it for a long time.
Маркетинговая стратегия, у нас была диспетчерская служба. Ну, то есть все как положено было построено в бизнесе. И достаточно долго я этим занимался. Мы развивали этот бизнес, мы в конечном итоге получили от наших партнеров.
We were promoting our business, and at the end we got an exclusive right from our partners in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Central Asia, Siberia, even Mongolia. This business finished unexpectedly for us. Our partners were in Hamburg. They signed a license contract with a new one, built by a Russian beer factory in Kaluga, and we were out of the cage.
Новых, вновь построенных российских пивзаводов в Калуге. И мы оказались как бы вне обоймы.
So our hero again was faced with some difficulties, and he had to start again, but he didn't give up. Thinking out a little bit what to do further, he chose an attractive option for himself.
Поскольку мы занимались пивом, естественно, мы
As our business was connected with delivering beer, certainly we delivered beer to a great number of restaurants. We served about 600 restaurants. I was in good relationships with many managers and owners of restaurants. There was land and I had free money. Then an idea to build a restaurant came to me.
Свободные деньги. И вот отсюда и возникла идея построить ресторан. Почему именно такого формата? Потому что на тот момент...
Why did I choose such a format? Because at that moment there were 6 or 7 Italian restaurants, even a Brazilian one in Almaty. But there were no Russian restaurants here. That is why I chose such a format, a Russian restaurant. Our first restaurant was completely projected in Siberia, including all the material. It was built of timber. We even bought all the materials ourselves. So unlike most businesses at that time, restaurants were created in place of existing or refitting ready premises. Vladimir took a chance and decided to rebuild everything from scratch. Many people criticized his start that he was building it to the edge of the city in not a rich region, and nobody would go to his restaurant. But Vladimir knew that he would have some mistakes and difficulties, but he was sure that he was right. I had to overcome different difficulties, even step on the same rakes several times. But gradually, with some experience, I came to a clear understanding of all process which takes place in a restaurant. When you know that all this process can be regulated, it seems to be easy.
И когда ты понимаешь все эти процессы, отрегулировать их не так сложно, а опыт руководства людьми, он у меня был уже достаточно богат на тот момент. I
had good experience of managing people at that time. When I worked for the government, I was young enough, but already managed one of the subdivisions. Then I had my own company, which I managed. There were a lot of people. Perhaps the most painless was managing people for me, and all the rest I had to learn not in the books, but after practice and experience.
А все остальное, да, пришлось учить не по учебникам.
From the beginning, Vladimir came to business systematically. He already had his vision of his first restaurant. That is why we didn't just build from the beginning, but prepared all main factors of his future business.
Более чем за год до открытия ресторана объявили.
More than a year before opening the restaurant, we announced a competition for a vacant position of a chef. We took the whole year to choose a chef, and a woman who was chosen as a chef of our restaurant had to cook 3 types of meals at home every day. We came to her place, tasted, and sorted them according to our principle. We had 2 folders. In one of them we voted for the meal we liked, and in the second one for the meal we didn't like. If all of us didn't like the meal, we eliminated it from the menu. The whole year we were choosing thousands of meals from which we had to choose and made the menu of our restaurant.
Из которых потом, собственно, и составили меню.
Vladimir related to the restaurant not as a business but as a child, and his love to the whole process, every detail, allowed him to achieve unknown levels of service, hospitality, and comfort of restaurants in Almaty.
Ресторанный бизнес, он как велосипед.
A restaurant business is like a bicycle. You turn the pedal. He was riding, stopped turning. He rode 2 meters and fell down. The main activity is that it is a business in which every minute you have some difficult situations. That is the first moment. The second one is, I would like to say that any restaurant is not walls and beautiful interior. These are people, cooks, and waiters. That is why we must pay attention to the mood of our customers. I always tell my guys if they don't have a good mood, let me know. I will let them go home, because they can't work well when they're in a bad mood.
У какого-то человека сегодня не то настроение. Я всегда говорю, ребят, если у вас нет настроения, лучше честно скажите, я вас с работы отпущу, чем вы будете работать с плохим настроением.
The advantage of this business is alive. You can see the result in an hour, and the result depends on the people whom you work together with. Of course, there are also good sides of having a good team, a team of associates.
Поэтому, конечно, очень важна сильная, хорошая команда. Команда единомышленников. По-другому никак.
The first restaurant of Vladimir Gorokhov became one of the most popular and visited places in the city. The ones who wanted to visit his restaurant had to make a reservation in advance because it was impossible to find a free table. Popularity got unexpected continuation.
Успешно проработав 3 года, в 2004 году ко мне обратились ребята, которые собирались открывать.
Having been working successfully for 3 years, in 2004, several guys came to me who were going to open a restaurant in a good place. They asked me to sell them a franchise. I never thought about it before. I sat in front of a computer and printed everything that concerned franchise, looked through it, and we agreed on the conditions of a franchise. In 2004, I sold my first franchise. We worked on it for 3 years, and after these guys, in the years 2004, 2005, and 2006, several franchises were sold to Astana, Shymkent, Taraz, and Karaganda.
Было продано еще несколько франшиз в Астану, Шымкент, Тарас и Караганду. На сегодняшний день...
For now, I have 2 franchises left. There are Karaganda and Taraz. And other restaurants, over time, by mutual desire, by mutual consent, I bought a part of the business, and I run the entire network, and am a part owner of several restaurants, and 2 of them continued to operate through a franchise.
Я управляю всей сетью и являюсь совладельцем в нескольких ресторанах, и 2 продолжают работать по франшизе.
Today, our hero's schedule is very tight. It is necessary to constantly move between the cities where the restaurants of his network work. He goes there to support the brand and impeccable levels set by him.
Наша работа любого человека, который работает в ресторане, она связана с общением с огромным количеством...
Our work as any person who works in a restaurant is connected with communication with a great number of people, different people. It requires a lot of spiritual strength. To be honest, people are different, very different. Sometimes they're spiritual, fortunately. But most of the people are hard. Our business is to find a common language with everyone.
Большинство. Иногда это очень тяжелые люди. Но у нас бизнес такой. Наша задача, чтобы все от нас уходили довольными и счастливыми. И поэтому приходится зачастую тратить...
So our task is to satisfy every person who visits our place. That is why we have to spend spiritual strength to turn the person who visits our restaurant as a guest. Let them relax, stop being nervous and capricious. Of course, spending such an amount of energy always requires recharging. So for me, trips are replenishment of what I lose at work.
Поэтому для меня выезды на природу это вот восполнение того, что теряется на работе.
Being a successful restaurateur of one of the most popular and respected specialists in this field of our country, Vladimir Gorokhov, to the question if he considers himself as a successful man, replies,
Для меня успешность человека – это, конечно же, не деньги. Потому что я, к сожалению, знаю очень много примеров людей богатых, но совсем не успешных.
As for me, success of man is not his money. Unfortunately, there are many examples of rich people, but they are not successful. I think a major value of the person in life is his family. I think I am a lucky man because my parents are alive. My dad is 83 and my mom is 81. I thank God for having them alive. It is a great success to live for such a long time and be happy to see your grandchildren's achievements and to see how your grandchildren are growing up. I personally don't set global goals in this life. I believe that the most important thing in our life is to grow educated children and be pleased with their success. It is very important for me.
Порадоваться их успехам. Вот, пожалуй, то, что для меня главное в жизни.
Vladimir Gorokhov says that the restaurant includes working with people, because in a restaurant you don't see food, but offer a rest and good atmosphere to clients. Especially people create this atmosphere. And if all employees, cooks and waiters, barmen and administrators will love their jobs, everything will be okay.
У меня есть любимая пословица: как не прибивай подкову, она не принесет.
I have my favorite proverbs. It will not bring you success and happiness as long as you do not nail it to yourself. And until you work, work and work hard. In fact, the formula of success primarily is hard work, informed daily work, and understanding that, as thought, a lot of what you did not care very little. You're able to do more.
Ты в состоянии сделать намного больше, добиться намного большего.